there isn't really anything. Everybody has, you could say, their own end of the race, or how far they can go. But most of the time, we're not even getting to that place there. So we're saying, I'm not academically good, so you almost just write yourself off. But that doesn't mean there isn't 10 steps forward that you can go, even if it's not on the same level as Prince Harry, with his
Yeah.
academics. And I just started realizing that, I'm the one who's holding myself back. So yeah, and that kind of like was a real change, especially that point there where it just kind of like, and that's recently I wrote a book, and it all comes from that place of not holding myself back and having this rule which I gave, which was never say no to yourself, let others say it.
Oh, I
And
like
that
that.
just means, if I want to write a book, don't say no. But if everybody turns you down, then fine,
Uh, uh,
but you don't say no to yourself.
yeah, don't. Wow, I'm going to be using that, by the way, now in the quotes because I think that's absolutely fantastic. And I have to say, equally, there's a lot of similar parallels with me and you, actually, probably in our youth in terms of maybe doubting ourselves. And I get in that maybe from you, and it's almost actually, no, I'm good, and no, I'm going to achieve that. And you've obviously, you can certainly see that that is the makings of what you have become, the acting to get the confidence, because I see, as many of us do when we look in on social, a super confident speaker. But you've had to work at this, Mark, and I think that's important for certainly all people, not just young people, to know, isn't it, that you have to work at these things to actually overcome maybe our weaknesses.
Yeah, definitely. It takes work and it takes, time. And it's not like overnight you wake up and you have this epiphany and then suddenly the next day you're a whole different person. Although what can happen is your actions might not be whole different, but your mindset changing is the start. And that's what it was for me, and it has been, So, and also, I guess barbering helped me a lot as well, because listening to people's stories, and I was a good listener, made me realize how much we don't still see the real people. So I started realizing there's so much people which are depressed. There's so much people which doubt themselves. There's so much people that are going through this and going through that. There's so much people that have gone through things which you would never think of. But when you see them on the screen, it's always kind of like they're perfect. But then I'm kind
So
of getting
true.
an insight into your imperfect life. You know, and I think all of that really helped because I just started understanding that what we think of people isn't their real selves. Like I remember recently Rihanna, I don't know where I saw it, but I saw some type of interview with her, and she said she was at, is it the Oscars or no, the Grammys, and it was a Grammy show that she never turned up for. Now people will take that as, oh, she's being, a diva and she's just leaving, and that's what you just think to yourself, yeah, what do you mean she just didn't turn up or she just walked off, oh, diva. But she said the reason why she didn't, she was there, she it's because she was so petrified to go on stage to perform.
Yeah, this is
And
it.
these are the things you just never see.
And as people, we can be very judgmental of this, can't we? We tend to judge people so often now, and actually, there's so much more going on behind people's lives that we don't know about.
Yeah.
And
And that's helped me. Knowing that has helped me to understand that actually, me doubting myself isn't like just me. There's a lot of people, even those kids that seemed confident when I was younger. I started realizing, it doesn't really mean they might have been confident, but it doesn't mean they actually were confident. Me having issues within myself and different things, started realizing, oh, a lot of other people have those same issues as well. And when I just started understanding that, that actually made me be more confident and made me understand that you just, and also acting as well. I always bring it back to acting as well. It's just kind of like you go on stage and you act. You can go off stage and cry, but people don't see that side, and everyone's kind of like, "Oh, that was an amazing performance. You were great. This and that. You're so confident," but they don't realize that the whole time you were there, like crumbling inside. But I just kind of came to really, I just came to at some point, just came to realize that and also I mean, a lot of the things which I cared about weren't that important as well. That was another thing. Like I cared about how I looked, my image, and all these different things. And just kind of like which people don't think. This is another thing. So you don't think that men and boys care about their image, but I remember growing up, I cared about my image. That's why I used to do all these curls and all these different things. I cared about the way I looked, and boys used to always be like, oh, I don't know. where you grew up. Boys would always say to boys, "Oh, you're ugly. This you can't get no girls. You're ugly. This and that."
That's
And
right. We're
that used
being
to hurt.
ruthless on it, aren't we? You know, it's lads. We just take the mickey about how even when you've had a haircut, you don't turn up to your mates and they say, "Oh, I love your hair." You know, you generally get something about your haircut.
Yeah, and that used to hurt me, and I used to really think to myself, I'm not good looking, and this and all that, and all those things there. So having all of those type of things there and those insecurities, as I grew up and I kind of came out of them, they made me want to help other people as well and expose those things as well. So on my Instagram, I'm constantly open about things, and the reason why is because I feel like I don't want people to believe that they're the only ones who go through these things. And there's actually a major thing that made me like that actually. I've been married now it's about 11 years ago. So, about 11 years ago, I had two friends. I just got with my wife now, and I used to be more kind of like private about my real personal life. And I had a friend who was seeing a girl, and he said to me that, long and short of it, he was basically not feeling this girl, maybe wanted to break up with her because his relationship wasn't like what he thought my relationship was like. He's like, I need to be with a girl, you get along with, and you're not arguing, like you and your girl, you and LaQuena. And then I had another friend at a similar time who said a similar thing to me, like I need to find a relationship like yours. But I remember at this time, me and my wife were arguing so much, and I just thought, this is sad because he might end up breaking up with his girl off an image that isn't actually even real because I'm trying to keep my private life private, don't air out your dirty laundry, which to some degree I still hear. But that made me change. That moment with those two friends made me say, I can't hide my life because people would judge themselves of what they think of my life. So it's important that I don't try and uphold this perfect image that me and my wife are just perfect. And, we don't argue. And we're just kind of like, you can't separate us. And, because people who might look up to me, whether they're friends or not, might believe that same thing. And
do you know what? I'm loving what you're sharing there, Mark. And I'll tell you why I'm loving what you're sharing. Because that runs so similar to so many of the problems of social now, because it's almost the same things there. Because I know exactly what you mean. Sometimes you look at this couple that are leading this so-called wonderful, beautiful life, where actually behind the scenes it's a car crash. But actually, that's similar to social. We all portray a wonderful, beautiful. We never show ourselves in our bad side, our gutty tummy, everything's six pack, and social is so guilty of this. Are you worried by what we see on social? Do you feel that is a problem and that's creating this even more?
Definitely, social media is a great tool if it's used right, but it can be a horrible tool because now I'm hearing about cases of more depression in children. The cases have gone up, and it's harder for young people